This is the Eye on Preps podcast. I'm Chip Souza with the Hog Sports Network. I'm joined by Erick Taylor with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. E.T., we have got a lot of ground to cover. What a tremendous end to the regular season Friday night. We had great games all across this state.
It was a night that we pretty much expected it to be, with a bunch of really high shelf matchups. Some went down to the wire. I mean, and others were good, three quarters or so. But I mean, it was everything we kind of expected it to be on the last Friday of the regular season, Brian.
Absolutely. We're going to start at the top. Number 1, Bryant, 52. Number 2, Conway, 33. That's after the last rankings. E.T., it felt like the Hornets felt like they had something to prove coming into this game.
And again, the week before, when they played North Little Rock, I talked to Quad, the head coach, and some of the players, and once they got that North Little Rock game over with, they immediately turned their attention to Conway, man. And just like me and you've been saying all year, man, it's the biggest game, one of the biggest games of the season, probably the biggest considering all the variables that goes into it. And they were ready the week before, so I'm pretty sure that entire week, leading up to the game, they were amped up, and I think. It may have been a few nerves, or they were maybe a little over-amped, starting out. But once those guys kind of settled in and realized, hey, we may be different at the top, but we're still, who we are, and that's 5-time state champs, man. And they kind of turned it on there a little bit, man, and got going, and wasn't no turning back.
They did. They got down 14-0. Donovan Amolo, the quarterback for Conway, who we've talked about a couple of times on the podcast. He got his team off to a good start, but man, Bryant came back. What a great game by Jordan Walker, their quarterback. 275 yards passing. And they kind of just took this game over in the second half.
They did, man. I mean, you was talking offline about, I was watching that game down in Arkansas while I was covering the Malvern tilt that they had, and that guy, he showed a lot of maturity from year to year, man. And the way he never appeared to get rattled in that game against that Conway team with that coach was really impressive, man. He set those guys down. He did it with his arm and his legs, man. It's probably the best game he's had since he took over that starting job, early last year. And kudos to him because he played big time in a big time game, man.
No doubt about that. So that game, the way it ended up, Bryant ends up getting the 1 seed from the 7A Central. Conway's the number 2 seed. They both have byes this week for the first round of the playoffs. Wouldn't be a surprise to see them play again. But there's some teams in the 7A West that are going to have a say-so about that. We'll talk about that just a little bit later. But big win there for Bryant. To borrow a line from Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were.
Exactly. Nothing more, nothing less. They are who we thought they are.
Exactly. So let's go to the 6A West, where Greenwood was hosting Little Rock Christian, and also a huge game that was going to determine the number 1 seed from the 6A West. This one was Greenwood, but it was a tough game, E.T.
Yeah. And that's another game I was kind of score watching with that one, man. It's hard to beat Greenwood at Greenwood, man. I don't know when the last time they lost a home game.
61 straight wins at home, yeah.
Man, dude, that's why Christian gave them a fight, man, which I expected them to give them a tough game, man. And it was, back and forth for a while. But again, Greenwood did what Greenwood normally does, and they took off, and no turning back on that one, man.
No, big game for Kane Archer, the sophomore quarterback at Greenwood, who is a highly rated quarterback for, I think, the 2026 class. RD would probably know more about that. We talked to him in a minute. Had a big game passing, 18 to 26, 280 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Also ran for 3 touchdowns in this game and right at 100 yards. So he was, he was balling out.
Balling out, man. And again, man, in the biggest of games, that kid seems to just step up. I mean, it's now it's being a sophomore. I mean, it's just like he's seasoned beyond his years, man. I mean, that guy is amazing. And again, we've said it before. But by the time he graduates, he'll be, a top 5 national quarterback, if not the best in that class.
Absolutely. Walker White, who's committed to Auburn, the quarterback at Little Rock Christian, also had a good game, 21 of 34, 288 yards and 1 touchdown. Also ran for 3 touchdowns for Little Rock Christian. E.T., now that we got the regular season out of the way and we're in the playoffs, the 6A, Class 6A is going to be a tremendous playoff round by round in this class, man. It's going to be something else.
It really is, man. You got a lot of teams, man, that are going to be vying. Of course, Greenwood will have that one. I think Ben to have one on the other side, but each side is going to have, a couple teams that are going to be, get tough outs, to say the least, man, once playoffs start.
No doubt about it. Moving back up to the 7A West now, Bentonville, 56, Bentonville West, 28. Bentonville has continued to own this. ET, almost, it's not a rivalry. It's only a rivalry if it's both teams are winning. This is a one-sided affair, and Bentonville West has never won a game in this head-to-head meeting, and that continued again Friday night. Welcome back, Carter Nye, for Bentonville.
Carter Nye came back, and it was almost like he didn't skip a beat at all, man. Almost perfect on the night, man, and then threw 3 TDs, and got Bentonville back on track for sure.
He did, man. 22 of 25, 340 yards. He missed the last 2 games, maybe 2.5 games. I'm not sure when he was injured in that Fayetteville game. Got his an ankle injury, but he missed at least 2 games and plus. Trying to get back from that. He came back. Not sure if he's 100% or not, but whatever percent he was a good enough percent Friday night.
It was good enough. Whatever he came back with, it was more than enough for West to handle that one, man.
It was, man. 42-12 at halftime, Bentonville. And they got off that bus ready to go roll.
And that's a game I thought, coming in that West would had a good chance of especially considering how they've been playing over the past, 5-6 weeks or whatnot. A good chance of coming out and kind of making a statement early. But I was wrong with that one, and Mr. Nye kind of threw that notion out the window.
He did. He did. He denied Bentonville West. There you go.
I wish I had a horn and just blow it off.
ET, let's talk about the game you were at, man. It was the Cade McBride show. Arkadelphia 55, Malvern 35 in the 4A 7.
That was a game, and of course, I wish I had took a picture of this, but on my way coming into the game, I-30 was backed far back. I don't know if you've been through Arkadelphia, there's about 2 or 3 exits once you get in, but the line on I-30 was back to the second Arkadelphia exit when I was coming in.
That's awesome.
And I was like, wow. So it was a standing on the crowd, and the game lived up to its hype. I mean, it was back and forth the entire first half. I was talking to a guy from Magnet Cove, and he asked me what I thought, was one of the biggest plays of the game. And I told him that was the pick 6 that happened at the end of the second quarter with about, 4 or 5 seconds left that kind of turned the tide in Arkadelphia's favor. Although Malvern came back to tide in the third quarter, the momentum that they had generated was pretty much gone after that. And Cade McBride scored a 68-yard touchdown run on the last play of the third quarter that put it up for good, man. And after that, it was lights out, man. But it was a great game, great atmosphere, and Arkadelphia did what they did, previously before, and that's beat those guys. And I think the Washita River Championship belt is what they play for. And they've won it, I think, 8 of the last 9 times, man. But it was a great game, man. McBride is the real deal.
Again, 2 other teams we would not be surprised to see again playing each other in War Memorial. But 4A is loaded, and it'll be a tough road no matter who gets there to War Memorial for the championship games. To recap that game, McBride passed for 200 yards, ran for 150 yards, accounted for 6 touchdowns in that game. But Malvern got theirs too. Jalen Dupree had a big game, 217 yards and 5 touchdowns for Malvern. Man, those are 2 really good teams, and they're going to be teams that will be factors in the playoffs in 4A. There is no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
Little Rock Parkview, ho-hum, 42-14 over a very good, in my opinion, Camden Fairview team. Again, they took a good team to the woodshed, ET.
Yeah. And Parkview again, it's almost like a broken record. I think in 5A, everyone is chasing those guys. They've proven to be just as good as we thought they were going to be. Even after the win against Bryant early in the year, they hadn't slacked up. They hadn't took the foot off the pedal at all. They just keep going, and they're beating these teams in a half.
Yeah.
By the halftime, the game is pretty much over. And right now, it's going to take somebody's best effort, I think, to knock these guys off this throne, man.
Like I said, man, probably about 23 cases of some kind of stomach virus going around. The only thing that'll stop them.
Right. And even then, that might not help even then.
Montario Elston, 3 touchdowns in that game for the Patriots, who are, man, I don't see anybody bending their way in 5A. But, again, that's why they play the games.
Why they play the game, man.
We'll see.
Play the game.
We'll see. Fayetteville goes 10-0, 56-28 against Springdale Harbor in the 7A West to lock up. They'd already locked up the number 1 seed. Drake Lindsay. Dude.
Yeah, man, you just have to shake your head at what they do when they do, man.
47 touchdown passes this season, Eric, and I think 1 interception. 1.
That's almost unfathomable.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what he's done. I mean, and he's got weapons around him, but that guy, I mean, it's almost speechless because he does it week in, week out.
Yeah.
It's
not become the norm.
It doesn't matter who he's playing against. I mean, he's going to go out. He's going to get you 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. This past weekend, a game. I mean, he's got those guys as legit, title contenders. Man, I think I saw this earlier. Was that the first time Fayetteville has gone 10-0 in the regular season and since like the 50s or something like that?
Yeah, the 1950s. Yeah, something like that.
When I saw that, I was like, wow, because I'm thinking that they've gone undefeated in the regular season like that before, but that's a long time. And for him to do what he's done and that team to beat teams the way they have in the 7A West, man, is extremely impressive.
100%. Another team that went 10-0 for the first time ever, Elkins. 54-0 win on Friday night. Man, their offense, Dizzy Dean, their quarterback, and Deshaun Chairs, their running back, man, they are a load for anybody to handle.
Chip, I said it, man, that's it's as odd as it may sound to have to see a 10-0 team be a sleeper. That's my sleeper pick to win 4A. Those guys, it took one game for me to be a believer. And that was, I think, I can't remember what it was early in the year, like week 2 or something, and the way they dismantled whoever it was.
Charleston.
Man, it's just awesome. And that offense, man, it's something to watch, man. They're fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, they are. They're very well coached. Zach Watson was the former offensive coordinator at Greenwood. He's been at Elkins for the 2 seasons, maybe 3. I've slept since then, It might be his 3rd season. I can't really remember. But anyway, he brought a good pedigree with him from Greenwood to Elkins, and he is doing at Elkins what they did at Greenwood, and man, and you're right, they will be a tough team in 4A. It's
exactly.
Man, offensively they can put some points on the board, and defensively they're playing well too. So it's looked
exactly.
Like they're well.
The shutouts they've had, I think they shut out a really, really good Ozark team a few weeks back. Yeah. So their defense is nothing to sneeze about either.
No, and then the last one we'll talk about, number 1 Carlisle 20-14 over Hazen. Always a great game when these two teams get together, man, and they go head to head and knock each other in the mouth every play. And again, this is the 3rd time they've played in the past year, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them play a 4th time.
Wouldn't be a shock whatsoever, man. I think Hazen got those guys twice last year, including the state title game, and Carlisle has to feel good about this one, man. Getting a little getting their lick back, so to speak, going to the postseason.
They got their big win on Bison Week. That was good for them.
Of all weeks, man. Big win.
There you go.
Big win.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll be joined by Richard Davenport. We're going to talk about a little recruiting. Got a little recruiting news from last week. Not the best of news, but we're going to talk about that in other recruiting on the Eye on Preps podcast. We'll be right back with Richard Davenport of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Stay on top of all Arkansas Razorback sports with a Digital Plus subscription on the Hogs Illustrated app. Get complete Razorbacks coverage in one location. Your subscription gives you 20-plus issues of Hogs Illustrated magazine, the most unique and compelling coverage anywhere in the state, plus total access to all the content on WholeHogSports.com, including breaking news, commentaries, analysis, features, recruiting, award-winning photos, and premium message boards. Subscriptions start at just $17 per month. Join the Hog Sports Network team at subscribe.waco.com. That's subscribe.wehco.com. Or call 479-684-5509 to get your front row seat to Arkansas Razorback sports. Go Hogs!
And we are back with the Eye on Preps podcast. I'm Chip Souza with the Hogs Sports Network, and I'm now joined by Richard Davenport of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, the king of recruiting. RD, had a little recruiting news over the weekend.
Yeah. Courtney Crutchfield, just shortly before Arkansas kicked off against Florida, reopened his recruiting and communicating with him. He said that he thinks he kind of rushed his decision, and he wants to maybe check out and see what else is out there. there are a lot of rumors going around, and I'm not much into rumors, but
Nope.
at the end of the day, I think if everything goes well with Arkansas and they just recruiting like they should, I think you'll end up being a Razorback, but there's no guarantee. I know a lot of people say whenever somebody decommits, they usually don't come back. That's usually out-of-state guys. In-state guys, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Braylon Russell would be a prime example of a guy that committed and then reopened things, and he's back on board now. So we'll see with Courtney, because when Arkansas offered him, that was the offer that he had always been wanting, growing up. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Well, RD, if I was a receiver or whatever, and the way the Arkansas offense has played this season up until Saturday, I might have had to go back and re-examine things too. But based on what they did Saturday, RD, to me, the Hogs did not even look remotely like the same team they had the previous 8 weeks.
Well, I think what you look at is the body of work over the last few years, and obviously the Mississippi State game, that was probably one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen out of an Arkansas offense. So you saw how you've seen all year how competitive Arkansas is, and if they even had just a middle of the road SEC offense, they'd probably be 7-2, maybe 8-1, or who knows if the offense was just good. For the most part, it's been just plain bad most of the year, except for on Saturday. So I think kids can kind of look at things and kind of analyze and go, hey, they're not that far away.
Yeah.
And what Arkansas, like Coach Pittman, obviously he likes this type of offense. It's about 50-50 passing, running. That's the idea formula for the Arkansas offense under Pittman, and that's kind of what you're going to see going forward. And whoever the next OC is, maybe it's Kenny Guyton. Obviously, he got off to a good start on Saturday. Would continue that. So I think kids. Sometimes we don't give them enough credit that they can see things, see things that maybe the average fan will because the things are going bad, they automatically thinks kids are going to just jump off board, and you would have thought a few weeks ago by some fans that about half the class was about to decommit. Well, you got one that is decommitted. Maybe there might be one or two others. Who knows? We'll see. But I tend to think that the kids overall analyze things pretty well.
Absolutely. Now, RD, is this the week that non-football signings are this week, correct? It's basketball and volleyball and baseball and all of that.
The 8th through the 12th. And right now it looks like Jalen Shelley, Arkansas basketball commit, will sign on Wednesday.
Sweet.
And Isaiah Elam will sign on Thursday. So they're only expecting those two guys to ink for the men's basketball team.
Fantastic. Also want to mention, now that Arkansas will have its final 3 games of the regular season, all at home. So those will be all 3 big recruiting weekends for the Hogs for football.
Yeah, well, it will do. Will that in this 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday? That will help them get kids in. Yeah. The 1:30 kickoff, I believe it's a 1:30. I'm not sure for the Missouri game. That will also help. Obviously, most kids are out for the Thanksgiving holiday for schools, so travel is not that big of an issue on that day. But they'll be able to finish up with 3 games and be able to have kids on campus, and that'll be big. And then after that, they'll start getting ready to host kids for December, the first 2 weekends. Maybe some transfers or transfers would probably be a little later, but maybe some junior college guys or something like that.
And hopefully Sam will have that jukebox cranked up very loud after that Missouri game on that day after Thanksgiving. So RD, as always, man, we appreciate you being on with us. It's about to heat up. Recruiting's been kind of warm a little bit, and now it's going to heat up big time over the next 4 or 5 weeks as we head into the first and early signing period for football, second week of December. and then we'll rock along a little bit, and then we'll have another signing day, the normal conventional signing day in February. So some exciting times. I still feel like, RD, that Pittman's maybe its biggest recruiting effort might need to be in that locker room and making sure kids like Luke Has and Ty Washington and some of those guys stay with the program, because those two tight ends, if they keep them in the fold and get them back next year healthy, RD, man, those two dudes, they're going to be weapons in this offense.
Yeah, I think Arkansas will be in good shape with both of those guys. I mean, anything can happen, obviously, but with NIL and all the other stuff going on. But Luke, I mean, he comes from a family that's got a lot of, well, not a lot, but a sister and an aunt who went to the U of A, and his family has season tickets to the basketball games and stuff like that. So I think they'll be okay with both of those guys. But again, we'll find out later, I guess.
Good deal. Well, if anybody wants to read more about recruiting, Richard has it always covered every week in the Democrat-Gazette. He has 3 columns a week in the ADG, plus his columns also run on wholehogsports.com. So you want to be sure and keep up with all the recruiting news. And like I said, it's about to heat up big time there. RD, we always appreciate you being on with us, and we will catch you next time.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, Chip.
We're going to take another break right here. When we come back, we'll be joined by Erick Taylor again, and we're going to talk about some big games on the agenda for this week as the high school playoffs in Arkansas kick off on Thursday. We'll be right back.
Get the latest breaking news on all Arkansas Razorback sports at wholehogsports.com. Our award-winning reporters and photographers go beyond game recaps to bring our subscribers the most trusted Razorbacks news anywhere. With expert analysis, the latest in recruiting, plus unique and compelling stories of your favorite teams. Subscribe today at wholehogsports.com.
We are back with the Eye on Preps podcast. I'm Chip Souza with the Hog Sports Network, and I'm joined again by Erick Taylor with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. ET, this is the first week of the high school playoffs in the state, and man, there are some great games on the schedule.
There's a lot of games out there, man, that's going to have people kind of flipping a coin as to who may win and who may not, man. And that's in every class. But that's what you want this time of year, man. You want those matchups that you never know who's going to win the game, man. So, and we have several of those on tap this week, man.
We do. We're going to start on Thursday night. For the Alma Airedales, the good news is they are in the playoffs. The bad news is they got Little Rock Parkview right off the bat Thursday night.
Right off the bat, man. They're going to be tested quick, fast, and in a hurry, man. No time to kind of rest, at least coming off that last week's game with Shiloh, man. You get out of one situation, jump right into another one, man. So it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And on Friday night, some big games I thought, to me, that were kind of intriguing matchups. North Little Rock at Rogers. Now, granted, this is not the same North Little Rock program as it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago, but this is still, in my opinion, could be a really good game, maybe a closer game than what you would normally see in a first-round playoff matchup.
It really depends on which North Little Rock team shows up. The team that, scored a lot of points against, I think, Fort Smith Northside, or one that, was been shut down several times, man. But North Rock still has plenty of athletes over there. Don't get me wrong with that. They just undergoing they've undergone a coaching change to start the year, and it's like they just hadn't really gotten their footing. They're still fairly young, but they've got weapons over there. They got a junior quarterback that's had his ups and downs this year, but once he gets going, he's really good. So it's one of these games where, hey, if North Little Rock shows up and plays the way I think they're capable of playing, they can make it competitive. Yeah. Or, if they come out flat, it could get ugly. So again, it's one of those games where a lot of things could happen depending on who shows up. Rogers has been good all year, and they're at home. So it's a big game, man.
Now, something we've not talked a lot about, Rogers made a quarterback change a couple weeks ago and put a sophomore in, Jeff Reagan, in at quarterback, and they moved Dane Williams to his more normal position of safety where he was playing before they made him the quarterback before last season. So the Mounties maybe have solidified a little bit of their team offensively. Not much of a letdown there with Reagan, but defensively they've played a whole lot better since having Dane Williams full time at safety.
And that's been a big difference, man. Like you said, I mean, moving Regan over there, and they haven't had much of a drop off. And it's not like Dane was bad at our quarterback. He's pretty doggone good over at quarterback, man. And like I said, they haven't skipped a beat, and whatever is best, it's a good thing to go with, man. So they're rolling. They'll be at home again, so I expect them to come out fired up. But again, like I said, if Nolan Rock comes out and plays well, it could make it competitive.
It could. How about El Dorado at Pulaski Academy, Eric? El Dorado got a big win a couple weeks ago. I think it was against Little Rock Catholic. They're very capable. PA, they've had a couple of bumps in the road this year. They won Friday night, but they didn't put a lot of points on the board, which is kind of rare for them. How do you see this one shaping up?
That's one of these games that's kind of sneaky, man. I mean, 3-4 weeks ago, you told me this matchup was a first round matchup, I'm saying PA, 40 plus.
Yeah.
But, El Dorado has seemingly started playing a whole lot better over these past 3 or 4 weeks, man. And PA is PA, but they're not as dominant, or at least they haven't been as dominant up to this point as what we're accustomed to seeing. But again, it's postseason, man. And then you got to know that PA is going to actually come out and do what they've been doing, man. But again, it's one of these games where it could get dicey if El Dorado can keep from getting avalanched early. The longer they hang around, the better their chances. So again, this is one of the interesting games, man.
Now, E.T., talking about dicey, Shiloh Christian did not draw a favorable first-round opponent at all in Hot Springs on Friday night.
Again, and I had a guy, I was at the Harding game this weekend, and a guy asked me about that particular game. And I told him, I said, again, just what I mentioned with El Dorado and Pulaski Academy, I think if Hot Springs can overcome that early wave that Shiloh's going to throw at them and they hang around, that's another one of those games that could get a whole lot closer and be a lot of interesting in that fourth quarter, especially with, like I said, Hot Springs is a good team.
They are a good team.
They're a good team, man. And Shiloh is no cakewalk for those guys at all. Like I said, and if Hot Springs can hang around, hey, you never know what happens when the fourth quarter hits.
Well, and then another one in 5A, Camden Fairview is going to make the drive up to Farmington. Farmington got the number 1 seed from the 5A West by beating Prairie Grove on Friday night. Not an overwhelming victory for Farmington, but they did get the win. Now they get Camden Fairview at home, and E.T., this is not going to be an easy game for Farmington. This is going to be a dogfight.
It really will be. Battle of the Cardinals with this one, man. And honestly, I kind of expect this one to be high scoring, to be quite honest with you, man. Fairview, they've got weapons that can score at the drop of a dime, big playability. But again, Farmington is one of those teams when they just go out and play ball and get it done, man. And again, this wasn't an easy draw.
No,
from winning, being the top seed from that West, man. And they got a Fairview team that's coming up, and honestly, probably going to feel like they have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
coming up and on the road, man. And I expect them to come out and play their best. It's one of these games again. Hey, if it's tight, late third quarter, early fourth, hey, you never know.
You let them hang around, man. Anything can happen.
Exactly.
And we talked to Eric. We talked about Elkins going 10-0 for the first time ever. They get a home first-round game, of course. They're playing Clinton. Your boy Zane Widener, E.T., they're gonna have to do something about him because he can be hard to handle.
Hey, if they let that guy get going early and often, man, it's going to push Elkins. Again, Elkins is my sleeper pick, man, with those guys. But again, it's probably one of those games where if I'm Elkins, I didn't really want to see Clinton in that spot. But then again, you really want to see any of those teams from that conference.
You do not want to play.
You never know, man, with those guys over there. They're up, they're down, up and down. But, Zane Widener, man, like I said, if he has his way early in that first quarter, if he comes out and punches you in the mouth and keeps punching in that first quarter, it could be a long night, But again, it is Elkins team, man. I've been so impressed with those guys all year, man. And like I said, if they can handle Zane a little bit, man, I don't know if you're going to stop him. But you can kind of slow him down a little bit, man. I like that chance. But again, if he gets going, it's going to be tough.
Well, the 4A4 is kind of like Pac-12 football, ET.
Oh, man.
They play those games late at night. So if you're not, if you don't stand up watching them, you're not really seeing like Oregon and Washington and those kind of teams. And all of a sudden you're playing them and they're punching you in the mouth and scoring, 6-yard touchdown run. You're like, where did this come from? You're like, hey, man,
what's going on?
You'd have been paying attention all year long. You'd have been seeing this all year long.
It's amazing, man. You're exactly right on that one, man.
Man. Well, I tell you what, there are going to be some great games starting this week and just continuing on and on as we build toward the state championship games in December. And we talk about the 6A and there's just so many potholes and speed traps and whatever in 6A, and then 7A. I think to me, ET is wide open, man. I know Bryant is Bryant. I know they've won 5 in a row, and they are who we thought they were, and a big win Friday night. But man, you got Fayetteville over here at 10-0. You got Bentonville healthy again with Carter Nye. You got Conway, of course, and Cabot capable, and it's just fun, man. This is what we play for.
What we play for, man. I'm so excited and ready for this going on. And like you said, man, 7A again. Brian is the top dog until someone knocks him off. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think there's probably 5, maybe 6 teams over there. If they get going, they're gonna challenge for their top spot, man.
Absolutely. Well, Erick, as always, man, thanks for being on with us. And our folks listening to the podcast, you can read more about what's going on with high school football in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette and the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. E.T., Sam Lane, those guys over there, Graham Thomas, Henry Apple, Rick Fires, those guys over here. Got Leland Barclay down, the guru of the gridiron, Leland Barclay down the River Valley and all that going on. So if it's high school football, we give you more than just that much football. We give you full detailed game stories, features, advances, and all of that. And so if you are a fan of high school sports, and particularly right now at high school football playoff time, you want to be watching and reading the Democrat Gazette and the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. So that'll take care of this week's podcast. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk about all the first-round games and things like that. So for Erick Taylor of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, for Richard Davenport of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, I'm Chip Souza with the Hog Sports Network. Thanks for being on with us. We will catch you next time. Go catch a game this weekend.